thanks everyone for coming. This is the House Hacker Mafia real estate meetup.
Look at this crowd.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get a few more chairs. We'll see. But tonight we've got Zeona speaking to us. I think she knows this because I sent her a DM on Instagram a long time ago saying thank you so much for getting started for Airbnb. She didn't respond until I met her at BPCon in New Orleans a couple years ago. So we finally got her here in person and at a perfect time because she just launched a book and it's awesome. So she's going to explain everything about that.
What's the book called?
Yeah, what's the book called?
30 Day Stay.
Perfect. Well, I'll hand it over to Zeona and we'll get started.
Aww. Yay! Thanks for being here, everybody. I just really appreciate it. It's a cold night in winter, so thanks for coming out of your cozy homes. Today we're going to talk about medium-term rentals. People also call them mid-term rentals. They are over 30 days rentals, so that's why we call it 30-day stay. So I've been doing furnished rentals for over 10 years. I started with short-term rentals and I've kind of pivoted since COVID into this space, and I think that there is a lot of room to grow, more than short-term rentals. I know you guys are going to hurt on me for that, but yeah, you can turn your short-term rental into a medium-term, it's okay. So I think it's important today because of cash flow. It's really hard to find in Colorado, period. And now with high interest rates and still high prices, it's tricky for people. So medium term can help you get there. And I think that makes all of our investments a little bit safer, especially going into a recession. So we're going to talk about how to cash flow in today's market and do a little medium term rental 101. And then afterward, I'm going to do just Q&A. So I'll try to get through this quick. But if you guys want to ask questions as we go, I love a discussion, so feel free to just interrupt me. And I've got Amy here. She does all my furnishing, and we're actually here right now refurnishing one of my places in Colorado Springs. And so she's going to come up and help me with the Q&A around furnishing. All right, let's get started. All right, so what we're going to cover today is what are medium-term rentals? Why would you like to do this strategy? We're going to talk a little about identifying a property for this strategy, managing out of state. So if you guys don't know much about me, I used to manage over 60 units. These guys do more than that now, I think. But mine were in 5 countries. So I learned how to do automation and how to do out-of-state management really well. And so I love to talk about that. And then, yes, how to automate. Welcome, guys. Sorry there's not much space. We're trying to find a spot. So I'm Zeona. I'm the co-author of 30 Day Stay, which was published by Bigger Pockets just last month. I am the co-host of the Investify podcast, which some of you guys listen to. I currently have a portfolio of 12 units over 4 states, so I'm still managing a bit out of state. And then, like I said, I used to manage in 60 units over 5 countries. What I like to tell people is live where you want and invest where it makes money. So even if here you don't feel like the numbers quite work, or you just, think that you could do better in the Midwest, which a lot of times their numbers can be better, don't worry about making it have to work here, and don't worry about having to make a vacation rental spot work. You can definitely invest where it makes sense and take that money and travel wherever you want. All right, so what is a medium-term rental? I'm not going to let this go too long because it's kind of annoying. But we talked about it a little bit. A 30-day stay, so anything over 30 days that is a furnished rental. These often are 3 months. That's kind of the term that you normally see because of traveling nurses. They usually have 13-week contracts, and then often will extend another 3 months. And so that's kind of what we're seeing. With short-term rentals, you see a lot of 4-night stays. And so it's a lot easier because we've got people staying for longer terms. And I find that they are lighter on the homes and take a little more pride in taking care of it. So that's pretty nice for us. So why do we like this strategy? There's a couple of reasons here, and we'll just go into each one. So if you guys have spent any time on the Furnish Finder website, you will see that there's not a lot of competition there yet. So Airbnb has been around now since 2008, and in the last maybe 3 or 4 years, it got so popular that all of the designers and boutique hotels and just the space got really professional, and so it's hard for the mom and pop, like, little person to compete well there, because it's just really, really nice now. But Furnish Finder is still a lot of granny flats and basements and poorly lit photos, so if you're taking a professional edge or trying to do this in a professional way, you're going to do better than most. And so I really like that there is a way to still compete in this space. There are less expenses. So if you currently run a short-term rental, you'll notice that there is just so much going on all the time. There's money going in and out all the time, and it's really intense if you're doing bookkeeping. But it also can get people kind of messed up because they think, oh my gosh, somebody told me I can make $100,000 a year on this one property, but then you spend 75% in expenses, so you need to be really careful about your numbers there. With a medium-term rental, there's just less going on, less expenses. I love it for cash flow. So something that people don't know is that there are kind of 2 ways to do the medium-term space. And so you can do the basic kind of low-hanging fruit that a lot of people do, which is using Airbnb and Furnish Finder or Verbo. But then you can actually go in a little bit deeper and get into corporate housing. And corporate housing, you can make more than a short-term rental. You can do 3 and 4 times market rate. So it can be crazy cash flow. If you kind of put a little more energy into it. I like it for the ease. So we were kind of talking about how quick people turn in and out of short-term rentals. So I like the medium-term space because people stay longer. So if people don't talk to you in the first couple days that they're at their rental, then you probably won't hear from them for the 3 months or the 6 months that they're there, and I love that. So yeah, with a short-term rental, someone has to learn your home every 3 days, and they often have the exact same questions over and over and over. It's crazy. The last thing is regulations. So that's something near and dear to your hearts. I know that here in Colorado Springs, short-term rentals are really delicate. You know, you can be in certain parts of town. I'm personally grandfathered in, but that's not good for everybody. So over 30 days, you just generally are in this kind of long-term rental bucket and nobody bothers you. So we love that. Great, let's move on. So let's talk the numbers. This is the place that I bought this year in July, and this is in Denver. This is the actual place. It's just a small 2-1 by Rose Medical, if you guys know Denver at all. But I bought this for $277. I got a little discount because I'm a real estate agent myself. My PITI is $1897, and that is your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and then also my HOA with that. A long-term rental would only bring in about $2,000, $2,100, but because it's a short-term rental, I can bring in another $1,000. So I'm making $3,150, and my tenants have been there since July, and they are going to stay till March. So I haven't had to do anything but furnish this rental. It cost us about $9,000 to furnish, and we did it in 3 days. So that is over 16% cash-on-cash return. I think it's pretty good. Yeah?
Do you run into issues with the HOA with doing this?
That's a great question. So she's asking about HOAs. What problems might you have with them? Usually HOAs don't like short-term rentals. Sometimes they don't care. But usually it's 30 days. It's always that kind of thing. And so occasionally you can find an HOA that says, no, it's got to be 6 months, it's got to be a year. But usually it's just that 30-day mark. And so if you've got a good agent, they can check that for you. But in this particular place, most of them are nurse rentals because we're right by the hospital. Even the HOA president rents hers out. So I was like, I'm safe. Yeah. Okay, so identifying a property. These are the 3 steps. So first is, who are you serving? I think people really hyper-focus on nurses. And so if you are going to go that route, you definitely want to check out the different hospitals nearby. I like to be by 2 hospitals. I love a cluster of hospitals. So Rose Medical kind of has that. There's a bunch right there. You have the VA hospital and whatnot. And then you can also realize that they're not just going to be nurse tenants. So in Boulder, actually, I have a couple rentals there. I don't have nurses come through. It's more digital nomads. I've got a lot of business travelers that are coming in to work at the different research centers, the college. There's just lots of different type of tenants. And so Denver also has like a tech center, so you can have a lot of those tenants. We've got Google in Boulder. So you just kind of have to figure out who are you wanting to serve and then position yourself near that place. And then number 2, where do they need to be close to? So again, we're talking about that. If you're going to do hospitals, I like to be within 20 minutes or 5 miles of 2 hospitals. So that's kind of what I look for. And one fun fact is that you guys are really close to Pueblo. And I know Pueblo has a bad rap because it's kind of dangerous. It just depends street to street. You in Pueblo? We're watching you. Oh, Pueblo is amazing. And the reason being is they bring in so many traveling nurses and medical professionals that they even had to close down a floor of their hospital because they couldn't get enough travelers. And so it's literally that whole hospital is traveling nurses. So lots of opportunity in Pueblo, and Pueblo is cheap. So, do that. And then talking about type of property. So again, we talked about the 2 different strategies. If you're going to be going for nurses, you might want to stick to a smaller property, so 1 or 2 bedrooms. But if you're going to try to go for corporate housing, they like the bigger properties. So they like single family homes. They like 3 and 4 bedrooms. And the reason being is that it's a lot of families. So it's insurance clients that maybe had their house burned down or something go on and they have to be somewhere else for a little while. And those types of tenants want to walk through the property, so it has to be nice. Yep, great, let's go on. All right, talking about how to manage out of state and how to automate. So a couple of steps, it's actually pretty easy. If you want, you could just hire these guys, they're really great. But other than that, I actually don't know if they do medium term, so maybe I'm just talking crap. First step is you want to build the team, and so the first person that's really important to have on your team is the investor-friendly agent, and the reason I like them is that they are kind of your cheat code. If you're going to be out of state and you don't know all the little pockets, the right streets to be on, and what's up and coming, that agent should know that. And the way that I find those agents is I'm looking for someone who owns or operates furnished rentals already, and medium term maybe not, but short term for sure. There's a lot of people out there already doing that. And the great thing about having that agent is that they are already going to have your cleaner, they're going to have your handyman, and those are the people you really need to get started with. After that, you can kind of expand into landscaping and all that stuff on your own. Okay, so let's talk about software. So I use 3. These are probably pretty similar to what you might be doing if you're doing short-term rentals. The first is a pricing software. And the reason that I use pricing software, even in the monthly stays, because pricing software works kind of on the daily price, the reason I find it really important is that when I started doing monthly rentals, I saw that people on Furnish Finder would just do one price. Kind of like if you had a long-term rental, they would just have this one price all year. But you're leaving so much money on the table because these are still seasonal, right? So if you've got pricing software and you're still booking on Airbnb or Vrbo, then you're going to be able to get that seasonal rate, right? So an example is this little property I have in Boulder that was a 1-bedroom. Oh, I didn't show that one. I showed my Denver one. Anyway, I have 2 little 1-bedrooms in Boulder, and they rent for $2,500 a month normally. Then in the summertime, in June, I can get about $3,000, and in July, I can get $4,000. And I wouldn't have known that without pricing software. So really important piece. Second thing that I use is automated messaging. So I personally use Hospitable, but kind of depends on whatever you guys like. The auto messaging is key because even your longer term tenants, you can send everybody the same messages and they just don't ask you kind of questions. You can kind of get out ahead of their messages and their questions. So in my book, I actually have 7, I think, are on my automated messages, and I have them all written out so you can copy them if you want. And then number 3 is Avail. So Avail is a place where you can collect rent for free, you can collect deposits, you can do leases and tenant screening and all that kind of stuff. So it's free and I love it. Okay, so a note on furnishing. We're going to talk more about furniture because I got Amy here and I'm going to just put her on the spot. She loves that.
I love voice, so.
But yeah, so with furnishing, what I've found over the years, at the beginning I really had to be super budget conscious, and it just took me a while to get to this place where I'm actually buying stuff new. But now, like, we came down here with just 3 days. We did an entire place just really quick because we got most of it shipped to the house. The mistake I see a lot of people making is going around on Facebook Marketplace and trying to get everything cheaper, or because they live locally, stretching it out over 3 weeks. You really don't want to do that because it's a lot of work, but you want to just bang it out, get your place listed. So just kind of giving you some tips there. And a lot of people think furnishing is super intimidating. It doesn't have to be. It can be really easy. So talk to us if you have questions about furnishing. All right, so the last thing I kind of want to touch upon is creative financing. So I don't know how many people are any of you guys doing creative financing right now? Yes, it's not smirk. I like it. Okay. So the two that I'm really excited about right now are seller financing and subject to, and usually you do a combo of those. Subject to means that you are taking over someone's mortgage payments. You don't actually assume the mortgage, but you get all the benefits of taking over a cheaper mortgage. So all these people that locked in rates that were 2s and 3s that you don't see anymore, you can actually take over their payments. And so an example is I had a client looking at a place that was $400,000, and he was trying to lowball the seller for $360. And even at $360, the payments were over $2,800 a month for just this condo, and that would not have cash flowed. But because we found out she had a 3% rate, then all of a sudden the payments are down in the low 2000s, and then it works. So it's really important to try to be creative right now. Creative financing used to be really big about 20 years ago when interest rates were high again. And so some people are used to hearing about it, and they're kind of getting ready for it to come back again. So you can negotiate a lot of these deals, and they're really awesome. So yeah, link up with these people that are doing creative finance. Get in touch with me. Happy to help you guys. Ooh, I saw a hand up there. What's that? Huh? Yeah, so due on sale is kind of just a risk that people have to take, unfortunately. So there's not really a way to protect against it. I know Pace Morby talks about there being insurance for it, but I don't think that's out there anymore. So some ways you can prevent it. So due on sale just means that if the insurance company decides that they find out that you've done the transfer and they decide to just call your loan due, then I think you have about 9 months to correct it, or you have to refinance or sell. So that's kind of the big boogeyman a lot of people are worried about. It doesn't happen that much. I've had a lot of people do subject to in the past, and they said that even when they were sending certified letters to the mortgage companies, they were just excited someone was paying because they were taking over a lot of people's like defaulted mortgages, and so it actually wasn't a problem, but it could happen. So you need to know, what are the worst case scenarios. I just think that it's a risk that you have to take, and I don't think it's that often. Some things you can do is you can keep the seller on the insurance, and then you can also, let's see, I think I'll talk to you personally about this because I just wasn't ready to talk about it. But yes, I've been learning a lot about it because we're selling one of our properties right now like this, and there's a lot of intricacies in it.
I think we should have all the people that are doing creative financing and raise their hands so everybody can locate them.
Yeah, who is doing creative financing, just so people can come talk to them if they're excited about it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are switching from wholesaling to just negotiating these deals and then selling them off to people. It's awesome. Have somebody go out, negotiate, find the deal, and you don't have to spend a lot of time doing it. Cool. So stay in touch. Our book is out everywhere now. It just hit Amazon a couple of days ago. If you want to buy it through Bigger Pockets, it's a code for 10% off. You can also connect with me on Instagram. I don't know what the hell Michael was talking about because I answer all my DMs. But if you want to get in touch, that's the best way. And I'll just leave this up and then come talk to me. Yeah. Thanks, guys. So we'll do a little Q&A and then we'll just leave it open and you guys can come talk to me. But yeah, what's up?
Aside from beyond pricing,
Yeah.
what's the pricing software that you use for the midterm ones?
I'm using Price Labs. I actually like them more than Beyond. They're just starting to beta test some of the monthly pricing, but I just think Price Labs is a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm. Hi.
Hey, so can you talk about maybe the idea of like a hybrid approach for somebody who has a short-term rental, there's a slow season?
Yeah.
This is fascinating, by the way. I don't have the book, but we'll be doing it soon. So,
Good.
anything to mention about maybe a hybrid approach?
Yeah, so when he's talking hybrid, a lot of people that can legally short-term rent, they're trying to take advantage of the high season still, but then use medium-term to kind of cover up the slow season. What happens in the slow season, a lot of times people will just book like a random weekend and then they can't do anything longer, so it just sort of messes up your calendar. So what I recommend is that know your seasonality, of course. So if you're here in Colorado Springs, like end of October is just like death, right? So you can kind of plan that, and then you can switch your calendar to say a minimum 30 days. And so you can have, even if you don't have pricing functionality, you can have like minimum 2 nights all the way up to, October 31st, and then minimum 30 days after that. And then I just open the calendar 5 weeks. And so I'm not letting them be super open, because then it's harder with the gaps. And we can talk about that more too. I have it in the book, but it is like you have to be like a little specific about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's up, Jordan?
I was going to double down on this point.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is kind of like look for ways that like certain platforms look to optimize like medium-term rentals. So one way, like if you look at how Airbnb chooses to use their SEO to like boost certain properties, if you offer a monthly discount or stay, they're going to put your listing up higher than other people's for properties that are available for 30 days or something like that. So that could be another way for you to pivot from a short-term rental strategy to a medium-term rental strategy in the summertime or in the wintertime. You're going to you can say you boost your prices 30%, but then offer a 30% discount. It doesn't cost you anything, but you're going to now appear higher on searches, and so you might get booked better because it looks like you're offering a better
I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For traveling nurses, do you have them pay monthly or bi-weekly? Just because like 13 weeks may or may not be exactly 3 months.
Yeah, so she's asking for traveling nurses just because they might come in on weird days, like how do you plan the payments? And so one thing I love about medium-term stays is that people will come in on the 8th and the 22nd and all kinds of random dates. So it's not like you have to have someone move exactly on the 1st or the 15th. Doesn't matter. But for that, we usually prorate the first month, and then we do it monthly, and we can prorate the last month if we have to. So, yeah.
Because I know sometimes they get paid or they get their stipend with payments.
They do get their stipend weekly, yeah, but I just do it monthly. Yeah. So,
Is there a site like Furnish Finders that you use for corporate housing?
there's a few. Yeah, we can talk about them, but Zillow is actually really good, but if you're listing on Zillow, you want to be putting it a lot higher. You want to be trying to capture those insurance kind of clients and not just your Furnish Finder price. They really should be different. And yeah, so anything corporate housing should be a lot more. There's corporate housing by owner. There's something called CRS, temporary housing, so it's CRSTH.com. And then there's 2 others. One's called TA Cares, like TA Cares. And then there's one more, and I've got to think about it, but I can come back to you.
Is that in your book also?
Those are not, because I am starting to get into corporate housing now. I think I need another book. But I wrote this book like last year, and so, it was the best of what I knew at the time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally. Hi.
Hi, how much above like an LTR would you place a midterm rental? And then also, do you usually include utilities into that as well?
You have to cover utilities. I mean, maybe you don't have to, but that's kind of the standard, so people are expecting that, just like a short-term rental. What people usually do is they think of it as like 15% less than a short-term rental, and so you can look on AirDNA and just make it a little bit cheaper. But that's if you're doing, again, Furnish Finder and Airbnb. If you're going to go corporate housing, you can actually charge a ton more. So the way that they do it for insurance, which is going to sound crazy, So you take the price of the property, so like the list price if you were going to sell it. So for example, I have a 1-bedroom in Boulder, it's worth $325,000. You take 25% of that, so it'd be like $80,000. You divide it by 12. So then you're getting into making this price per month, which is like $6,700 a month for a 1-bedroom. Now you can't charge that much if it's not a single family home, so it's plus or minus like $1,500 a month, but you're kind of in that ballpark of like crazy money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you have to have better furniture to keep up with this, or what is your designation between a corporate housing and a standard midterm?
Can you say it again?
So would you have to like provide certain types of furniture then, or what would you say would designate a corporate housing above a standard midterm?
Yeah, so what designates a corporate house instead of a midterm rental? And it's really just how you advertise it. So the thing that you want to get into is making them really nice. So if you're used to doing short-term rentals, they're getting into that space of like super stylish, which we can talk about a little bit. Some people are putting like murals in their places to make them kind of Instagrammable. So you just want a place that when somebody sees pictures of it or they walk through, they kind of have a little wow effect. Because basically these people are going to walk through your house and say yay or nay. But there's also not a lot of options out there. So if it's a family and there's, they're getting like 3 individual rooms at a hotel and that's really uncomfortable, they're going to be super excited to have a house.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
international thoughts?
I don't really play that game. So I've managed those, but I find that it's super seasonal international. The reason being is like people can't take their kids out of school. At least in Europe, that's illegal. You need to only do it on the holidays. And so everybody travels at the exact same time. It's kind of tough. So I just say make your money here and then take it to Europe. Yeah. Yeah.
With your experience like furnishing places, have you noticed over the years kind of revelations where you spent maybe more money on certain things and less money on other things and maybe realize like shoot, maybe I should have switched it up, or maybe I don't need to spend $2,000 on a couch?
Yeah.
Things like that come
So
up for you?
I'll tell you my experience of furnishing, and then I'll have Amy talk a little bit about furniture. But I went cheap when I started. I just didn't like have the budget, and then maybe I didn't know better. But that has cost me more because I've had to go back and refurnish places, which I'm doing right now.
It's great
so,
for me.
Yeah, it's expensive, so I don't recommend it. I think if you furnish it super stylish, even if you have to pay a designer or something, it's just so much better. And then new furniture is going to last a lot longer than used furniture. So, but let's talk about furniture. Where do we spend our money? You're going to have to come over here.
Coming over. Hello, I'm Amy Levine. My Instagram handle is Amy Sells Boulder, and I hope that you'll all follow me. So I'm a real estate agent, and then also I have a side business, which is furnishing short-term and medium-term rentals. So I think as far as furnishing is concerned, like Zeona said, it is very important to make sure that it's stylish, because that's what's going to, even if you take the photos yourself and you don't have professional photos, it's what's going to make your listings pop. So people are like, oh my gosh, look at all of that camel, look at that mural. Camel is a color, by the way. We did pass by Kissing Camel's neighborhood, and I was like, camel. But yeah, so like, when you have that like certain color brown leather couch that has like the beautiful mid-century legs and then like the boho pillows, people are like, ooh, I could take a Zoom call from here. It's my comedy routine as well. So. But yeah, it doesn't have to be expensive. So I will say that like most of the furniture that I'm buying for people, I am doing it on their budget. Like, people do not want to spend a lot on this, but they really want it to look good. So I hate to say it, but like, we get a ton of stuff from like Amazon, and it comes in 2 days. And if you forget something, and you have 4 days there, you can order it immediately, and maybe it's overnight delivery, and then you have like new pillow covers that can just go on top of something that somebody threw up on.
We
like,
actually did that.
We did that, yeah. That's a true story. And same with couches. So like, I have this couch, I will give you the secret. It's called the Arroyo couch. the Arroyo couch from American Furniture Warehouse. With delivery, it's like $600. It looks like leather, but the couch cushions have removable covers, so you can take the covers off and wash them if they get dirty, and it looks so good. And I went into a house that I was doing a showing on the other day, and they had 2 Arroyo couches in there, and I was like, I know it looks good. And it was like a house that had just been flipped, so I was like, they know. And now you all know too. So yeah, it doesn't have to be expensive, and it can look really nice, and it will usually withstand the test of time. And if it doesn't, you didn't spend $2,000 on a real leather couch, and then you just like have American Furniture Warehouse come back out. It's always like these 2 dudes that are like lifting it over their head, and like it's like really impressive. Like you're just like, oh. And same with bed frames. So I have this one bed frame that I have bought like 12 different times, and it takes me literally 13 minutes to put it together. Like I timed myself. The king size takes a little bit longer because it has like a middle piece, but it's from Amazon. It costs like $200, and it looks really great. If you wanted to get a headboard, you can, or you can just get like a really cute thing to go above it. So yeah, right now we're doing the house that's here because it's Colorado Springs, and it's like so close to the mountains, and it's very like, I've come to the Wild West. The theme is cowboy modern. I found it on Pinterest. You can also look at it. It's like, you know, the Arroyo couch, but like with a fur, and like you can, but anyway, people love a theme. So people are gonna see this place and they're gonna be like, wow, that's so cute. It has a cowhide rug and a picture of a cowgirl, and like, you know, what else did we get? All kinds of really cute things. The Arroyo couch. And what's also great about it is that we got rid of a ton of furniture that she already had, but we also were able to reuse a lot of furniture that was there. So you're taking a lot of things that are already there, and you're like, wow, these are really good pieces. They don't need to get replaced. They could in the future, but like the coffee table we kept, the TV console we kept, the TV obviously. So once you buy all of those things, like the upfront cost is the most expensive part. So doing like a 1-bedroom, it's around $8,000 to get everything you need. So like your coffee maker, your scissors, like all of those little tiny things. And then after that, if you want to kind of like zhuzh it up or like redo little things, you don't have to buy $8,000 worth of stuff again. You can go in and you can like redo all of the artwork, or get some new furs, get a cowhide rug, get the Arroyo couch.
Not sponsored.
I am not sponsored. Yes! Can you show that? That's what Camel is. So I also I have like camel chairs that I get for all these different places, and it's just like, it looks really good right now. And maybe in a few months or a few years, it will look less good, and so we'll get like a fur to put on top of it, or we'll just like, put them on Facebook Marketplace, and just like, we'll have the professional photos that you've taken for your listing, and then you can sell it really easily because you have a professional photo. Any questions about furnishing that I have not covered? I know I just like love to hear myself talk, so that's what's happening. Yes.
It's great to hear you talk.
Thank you. He said it's great to hear you talk.
Other than the Arroyo couch, is there anything like 30-day stay specific? I think of like a printer, like who the heck prints anymore, right? But
a desk.
A desk. Okay.
So like a desk is really important. I also just think like multiple places to sit. So like in the place that she has, it's not really a big deal because it's just like a couch in the living room, a chair, and like a dining set, and then downstairs there's a desk. But if you had two furnished bedrooms, you want a desk in both of those rooms, because especially traveling nurses and traveling nomads, they actually are digital nomads. Traveling nomads, same thing. Anyway, they like to travel in little pods. So it's true. We went to my friend's place that I furnished. We went over there and they were like in their little pod, and they travel around a lot together. So they like to, each have a queen size bed. They don't necessarily want two twins and a queen for those kinds of things. They want, 2 queens or 2 kings, and you want a desk in each room. TVs as well. TVs are key. TVs are cheap too. I don't know if you guys know this, but like TVs used to be expensive and now they're cheap.
And blackout curtains, because they work nice.
Yeah, blackout curtains. That's a good one. Yes.
When's your book coming out?
My book is so. I don't like to read. My audiobook. I'll have my husband write the book and then I'll read it so that I can hear my voice. If you do buy Zeona's book though, I'm on page 57, and I know that because the first thing I did was skim the book for my name. There's another page, but I can't remember which one it is. My book is not coming out. But my TV show, tell HGTV that we are trying to get on TV. Any other questions? Yes, hello.
Do you furnish in Colorado Springs, and what's your pricing structure?
I would furnish in Colorado Springs. I could do it from afar. I could send you my list for a price, and I could come down here and do what I call the full service. The full service, like a spa treatment. I come down and I would do the entire thing. I would stay. Someone just said she's my favorite, and I love that. I would come down. So right now my pricing structure is getting higher and higher because at first I thought I couldn't charge anything, and people pay me a lot of money. So right now for the full service, it's $2,500 for a 1-bedroom. That's my fee, and that means that I come down. First of all, I order everything. I come down, I put everything together. I'm wearing a very cute outfit, so you might not be able to tell, but I'm really good with power tools. So I put everything together too. This week I built 3 beds, 5 chairs, just all the stuff that you need. I put it all together, and then if you don't have a photographer, I will arrange for a photographer to come take all those pictures, make sure that everything is placed perfectly. Yes.
Outside of a desk, is there anything else when you're furnishing a short-term rental versus a medium-term rental that you specifically focus on in both furnishings or amenities or anything else?
Something that I have been thinking about a lot, which I haven't actually started doing, but I know other people do, is labeling everything for short-term rentals. You can buy label makers at Costco. Not sponsored, but would like to be. And if you label everything, then they ask you a lot less questions. People hate getting messages when everything, it's you don't want to have to tell somebody where a spatula is. It should be obvious. Zeona might have better answers.
The one thing I do is make sure the kitchen is a little more robust, so people are going to be cooking. In a short-term rental, they just might not, So just make sure that they have everything to make pasta, and they have good-sized pots, and sometimes people put a crock pot or something like that. That's easy for them, but yeah, that's kind of the only thing. I've tried a standing desk. I don't think it makes a difference. And monitors. Sometimes people say they leave a monitor on a desk. I have not done that yet.
I have a small trick for that, and that is if you put a desk in a bedroom and people sometimes like to watch TV in bed, you can get a little TV that doubles as a monitor. Yeah, there's some deals people or HDMI.
All right, so we're gonna just open it up so you guys can mingle and enjoy each other. But come ask us questions if you've got some. And I have a bunch of cards here, and then I don't know what Amy has. She got an Instagram.
Cards too.
Okay, great. Okay, bye guys. Thanks.
Bye everyone.
Okay, thank you, Zeona and Amy, for both coming out and speaking to us. And thank you everyone for coming out to this meetup.